Hello everyone, welcome to week 25 of the mini paint challenge. We are going to be painting a mushroom today, but before we do that, if you are new here, this is a challenge that I run every week. I've actually just recently switched from Wednesdays to Thursdays. We're running it on Thursdays now. But just look at my bio and I will post when I'm going to be going live, but I should be doing the Thursdays from now on because of my swimming lessons on Wednesdays. So we are going to be doing a mushroom, like I said. If you want to join in today, you're welcome to. If you're watching this back, welcome. Feel free to leave any comments or questions down in either the chat if you're live or in the comment section if you're watching it back. And make sure you tag me on social media at Josol Art and use the hashtag mini paint challenge, and then I'll be able to see your art and show you a little bit of love. I love when you guys join in and do that. So this is the reference photo that we're going to be playing with this week. I took this like in the fall, I think it was last year. I was going back in my camera roll trying to find like cute little mushrooms because lately I've been making little mushroom earrings. So I just came out with my own little mushroom earring series. I've been posting them all over like my Instagram and Facebook, not so much on YouTube, a little bit on the reels there, so you might have seen it in the reels. But I've been enjoying doing like the mushroom series. It was all inspired because I did this not too long ago. I did this like little jar for my mushroom, for my paintbrushes out of mushrooms. So I have like a bunch of different mushrooms that you can find on Vancouver Island. Just like the little chanterelles and the morels there. Got a cute little lobster mushroom, some little oyster mushrooms. So I've been having fun doing a bunch of mushroom earrings as well. And we also recently did a mushroom painting, so you can go back and do this one as well. We did this cute little mushroom that I found on the trail last time. So I thought this would be a little bit different than this one because we've got kind of the nice pinkish colors. And I also played around with Photoshop with this one a little bit, and I used kind of the effect where it like tones down the colors, or not tones them down, but like it kind of minimizes the colors that you see on the screen. So it's almost a little painterly, which is kind of cool. So I thought we would play around with that today because why not? Something a little bit different. Okay, so we are going to go to the main mixing screen now. Oh right, I was going to show you guys my mushrooms too. So I've been working on, I figured it would be easier to show them while we're on the main mixing screen. So this is one of the earring sets. I've been working on just like little earring sets of this one. There's a little rosy mushroom. This one, oh, yeah, of course I'm getting some paint on it. At least I glazed them so you can just wipe it off. And then I also made these little apricot mushrooms. They're called apricot jelly mushrooms. I kind of use like a translucent clay for them, so they're a little bit see-through, which is cool. And then I've got these little guys here that I did. I love these little guys, the little purple tops on them. And so this is something that I've been learning how to do. I also made these little puffball mushrooms, which are really cute. So these are all up in my shop now. I'm probably going to add a few more mushrooms to the collection as well. These are the little chanterelles. These are like the little mushrooms in Ratatouille that like Remy does his lightning-y mushrooms with, which I thought was so cute. Someone mentioned it the other day and I was like, oh my gosh, yes they are. They're so cute. And I love Remy. I have Remy over here. I just got him from Disneyland. So we actually painted him last week. I have the painting here. It's pretty much dry now. Did a little Remy, little side comparison with the two there. Oh, he's so cute. I like the little Remy we did last week. Okay, now we should get into this one. So we are going to start off with, which color should we start off with? I kind of want to paint the background first today and then work on the mushroom. Normally I start with like the subject and then do the background, but I'm kind of thinking the background because there is a lot more detail in the background. So I think it'd be fun to kind of play around with the background a bit and then go into painting the mushroom. So let's maybe mix some background colors, and I'm just going to set them in a little pile here. I like to mix my colors beforehand because it's just more relaxing when you're painting and you've already got like some pre-mixed standard colors. Like you can mix some extra colors as you go as well, but it's nice to have kind of those base colors so then you can play off of those rather than having to do it as you go. I know every painter is different, but I just find it a little bit more organized that way and a little bit less stressful while I'm painting if I can just like mix the colors ahead of time. Then I can just like focus on enjoying the painting aspect of it. So for the background, I've got, here, I'm going to list off my colors. Almost forgot to do that. Can't forget to list off the colors. So we've got titanium white, we've got warm white, we've got quinacridone magenta, quinacridone red. That one's a new one. I don't normally use quinacridone red, but I put it on the palette. Yeah, that one's quinacridone red. And then alizarin crimson. And we've got lemon yellow, sap green, cerulean blue hue, ultramarine blue, and then I guess we'll probably use the burnt sienna as well. Yeah, we'll use the burnt sienna. There's a little bit left on there from the other day. I don't know. I kind of thinking the pinkish orangey colors will be in here. I might actually add, I'm almost thinking like Indian yellow might be kind of nice on the palette. Maybe instead of the burnt sienna, we'll use like a bit of the Indian yellow. I'll put it in between. It's kind of like an orangish, so it'd be a nice, and it's a translucent color, so you can kind of use it to like glaze on top of the other colors to brighten them up at the end too. Brighten up the yellows a little bit in certain areas. So I will add that. I'm trying to see if I want to add any other colors. Nice thing about oil paints, so I'm using oil paints, but you're welcome to use any other ones. But the nice thing about oil paints is they don't dry super quickly, so you can mix the colors very easily ahead of time. With acrylics, you might want to just mix on the go, so you could like watch the section on how I mix different colors and then go into the painting and mix as you go and kind of pause it as you're mixing, because it is harder to blend with acrylics unless you're using like an acrylic medium that kind of like prolongs, or you're using like a wet palette. You can get those like wet palettes that keep the acrylics wet for a little bit longer. I don't use acrylics as much anymore actually. I'm just kind of stuck with oil paints, and then I've really loved polymer clay. So those are the two mediums that I've been using lately. Okay, so we will start, like I said, with the background color. Let's go with all of these like different greens. I've got a little arrow here. I'm thinking I want to go in with some of these different greens first. I'm gonna make the base color like a sap green. So we've got the sap green here. I'm just gonna take that base color and hold it up and see kind of where the starting point is and what color it kind of matches up with, or if it matches up with any of them. And then we can kind of take that color and go from there. So it does match a few of the greens, especially in kind of that like greenish blue area over in this section, sap green. And then these ones are kind of like a more muted green color. So I will keep some of this on the palette here. Just a solid sap green. And then from here, I'm gonna lighten this. I'm gonna add a little bit of lemon yellow to it. I want this just to be a little bit more that yellowy green. Let's see, I think that's kind of what I'm going for in some of those brighter areas. Yeah, definitely some of those brighter areas. So kind of where my mouse is over here right now. That's like the nice bright green there. I think I'll put that like just underneath there. I'm also going to take this brighter green and I'm gonna add a little bit of warm white to it. And this will kind of give it a lighter appearance, but like a more kind of like dull color. And I think that'll be good for some of those like really light areas, kind of in the greens. Yeah, I think that'll be good for there. And this is just an old cut up rag that I have down here. Old cut up bed sheet actually. That broke. We actually just got new bed sheets because they all broke. I find our fitted sheets, they just like tear down the sides a lot. But I guess normally the sheets last for like a few years and then they tear, so I guess that's not uncommon for sheets. Okay, and now I want a slightly darker one as well. I want it to be more on that like purple end. Normally I take a little bit of ultramarine blue and alizarin crimson and I make a really nice deep purple. I'm going more on the blue side with this one. And that's going to be kind of like our black or like darker areas. Try not to use black. I like to use this combo instead. Nice purple. It just adds a little bit more color. Yeah, so that's going to be like the dark areas. That'll be nice. And then there actually is some purple. I'm going to keep that on my palette knife. There's kind of some like, oh, I'm making the arrow bigger. There's some nice purpley colors in like this area over here, and even some like reddy purples kind of in down here as well. So we're gonna make those next. I'm gonna use a bit of warm white just to see, so that's what the color looks like when you lighten it with a little bit of that warm white. That's definitely close to some of the purples that I want in there. Some of the lighter purples. I'm going to grab a little bit more of the blue, the ultramarine blue and alizarin crimson. I'm going to make a slightly darker one as well. But not quite as dark as that other one there. So the background kind of has like those blues and purples and greens, and then a little bit of almost like an orangish pink, like a salmon kind of color. Actually, that's one thing that's really cool to watch on Vancouver Island is the salmon run every year. We have a big stream that goes out into the ocean, so the salmon come up to nest and lay their eggs every year. So it's cool to watch them like jumping upstream at one of the parks nearby. Salmon are really cool. Then it also smells like really gross if it's too late in the season, because what they do is they like jump up, lay their eggs, and a lot of them just die. So then all the wildlife comes and like eats them, but there's like rotten fish. So you gotta go before that happens. Okay, we've got purple. I want to do kind of like a purpley blue, I think. Just gonna grab a little bit of that purple. And I'm gonna use a little bit of cerulean blue with this. And I'm gonna use titanium white for this. It's a more like bluish white. This one's kind of a warmer white, like I was saying. So it's got more of those like yellowy red undertones. Right now we're just trying to make that blue that you see in some of like these sections here. There's a lot of like little blue areas here and then over here as well. So we're just trying to replicate that color. And I'm not doing it exactly like the image. I like a little bit of variation. Add a bit of more ultramarine blue and alizarin crimson to add that purple back in there. Because it's still a purpley blue even in some of those lighter areas. And just squint a little bit, make funny faces. To see how it looks against the colors. Okay, that's a really nice color. I like that. I'm gonna put it here. I'm also gonna do a darker one as well. So saving a little bit of that, putting a bit more cerulean blue, alizarin crimson, and ultramarine blue again. Okay, let's see if that's closer. Just those three colors. Yeah, that's good. And that kind of gives us like a dark blue and a light blue and a dark purple and a light purple. It's kind of, like I'm not going to go too crazy with too many variations of the color. Now down here, you would think that some of these leaf colors are like brown, but they're actually kind of on more of the purpley red sides down here. Like I would say they're more purpley red. So I'm going to use a little bit of the color we just had, so this blue color, and then I add a little bit of warm white to it. And so this, I'm trying to get this a little bit darker now, which I'm going to go ultramarine blue with that alizarin crimson. Get that purple back out there again. And then I am going to take a little bit of the sap green to desaturate the color a bit. So I'm going to take some sap green. That's going to make the purple kind of more into that brown color, but we still want to have it more purple than brown just because I want more color in that area. A little bit more sap green. Okay, yeah, that's definitely closer to the color we want. We even want like a slightly darker color too. So I'm gonna put that there, put some more there. Ultramarine blue again, alizarin crimson, that sap green. We're gonna make a slightly darker version. A little bit more sap green into that. Okay. Yeah, that's looking pretty good there. And then I want to make like a reddish kind of version too. So I'm going to make a red one as well. Take this off the palette for a second. We cleaned that off just to give us a clean surface to work on. And then we're also going to do the reddish color. So the reddish color, there's kind of some in here in between the purples. And then there's a lot of that like reddish tone in here, reddish kind of sammy color I was talking about. So we're probably gonna start off with alizarin crimson, add a little bit of warm white. That'll give us a nice pink, and we're going to slowly add a little bit of this lemon yellow to it, and that'll give us kind of that salmony pink color that we're looking for. Keep adding little bits of that lemon yellow to it. And if you need to, mix it in a little bit and then hold the color up here and just compare it. So we definitely want that a little bit darker. We're going to even add some blue into that. A little bit of that purple in there. Let's see, that's getting closer. It's even some of the mushroom color already, which is nice. We'll be able to use a little bit of that. And I'm going to save some of this because it's really close to some of the other colors. Put that there. I want to make this slightly darker with a little bit of ultramarine blue and then more alizarin crimson. There we go. That's the exact color that we wanted. So now we've got these two colors there. And then we want a slightly lighter color as well. Want more of the titanium white, ultramarine blue, alizarin crimson, and a little bit of that yellow like I was saying. And I like to keep a really basic palette just so you're kind of you get used to mixing kind of the same colors all the time, so you understand how they behave after a while, and you get a lot more familiar with your palette that way if you just kind of have the same colors all the time. And then you you can mix things a lot faster if you know how the colors react to each other. And I also pick pretty solid colors too. And in my own terms, I call them solid colors, but they're like one pigment colors. The only color on there that isn't one pigment is the sap green. That one is a mix of colors. It is a mix of, what is it? Phthalo blue, yeah, phthalo blue and Indian yellow, and then a few other pigment colors that I don't know the codes for. But that's the only one that has a bunch of pigments in it. So trying to buy solid pigments really helps to keep your colors like not from getting super muddy, because you're working with those solid pigments rather than a bunch of pre-mixed colors already, which is fine. I like having the mixed colors too, like the sap green is really nice, but it definitely can get confusing when you're first starting out. Okay, we got that. Some of these are actually going to be like good mushroom colors too. There's a lot of these similar colors in like this part of the mushroom. There's those pinky colors. We're going to work on this part of the mushroom now because we don't have anything that really matches that nice bright orange color. These pinks will be good there. We could actually make a slightly lighter color. Let's do that quickly because we are going to need that. Gonna need that anyway, so I might as well mix that. Just added a bit of titanium white to this color that we already mixed. And I'm thinking that's gonna be pretty close. Almost lightened it a little too much. Just gonna add a little bit more alizarin crimson and ultramarine to that. That's pretty close to the color we want. And I'm trying to keep the colors decently close for you guys, so it's a little bit easier to learn how to mix. Try not to change up the colors too much. I kind of did that in Photoshop. I already like pre-changed up the colors in my photo, but you'll get used to picking out certain areas where you're like, oh, like I kind of want to make that more blue than green, and then you can kind of shift those colors the more that you practice. We've got those pinks, and now we're going to work on this one. I'm going to move my arrow. So right here in this area, all of these like really peachy colors, I guess, peachy salmony colors in the mushroom. I am going to grab a little bit more of the alizarin crimson because I ran out of that. I go through a lot of ultramarine blue and alizarin crimson. They're like two of my favorite pigments. I use them for a lot of the darker areas. And we used it for a lot of these colors that we have on the palette already. So I'm going to take alizarin crimson, put a bit of this lemon yellow in there. And yellow and red make orange, which we're looking kind of for that salmon color. I'm gonna see how close that is to some of these colors. I think I want to keep that. I like that one. I'm gonna grab a little bit more. We're gonna also make a slightly darker one too. Yeah, that's pretty good. This just has a little bit of the lemon yellow, and it's gonna, I want to make an even darker one. I guess we could just use some of this purple, and then we don't need to go too much darker on that. I'm gonna go on the lighter end of there, so I'm gonna take a little bit more lemon yellow and get more of that pinky salmon color. I'm also gonna add a bit of the warm white to it. Little, yeah, that's pretty good. Let me just make sure that's mixed enough. And that's why I like mixing ahead of time too, is you mix with your palette knife rather than your paintbrushes, and getting any sort of paint into what is called the ferrule of the brush, so where the bristles connect with the actual brush head, kind of where this little metal piece is the ferrule. If you get paint in there, it's really hard to get it out, especially with oil paints, and then you end up damaging the brushes, and that's what causes them to kind of splay at the ends. So you end up with a lot of splayed paintbrushes if you mix with your paintbrush, so definitely go out and like buy a palette knife. You will save yourself a lot of headache when it comes to brushes. Though I save like my splayed brushes too, like I do have some in here. Be hard to see a little bit up close, but this one's definitely splayed on the end, and that's because I got a lot of paint when I was first beginning in the ferrule area, so there's not too much I can do about it. There's definitely paint in there. But you learn. And then I'm gonna add, I'm gonna start adding more yellow to this, because you can see in this kind of glowing part of the mushroom here, I've got more of the like yellows in here, so we're just gonna start some of those over there. Yellow, I'm gonna grab a little bit of this warm white as well. It's a slightly different yellow than I was intending. Add a bit of alizarin crimson to this, make it more orange. Okay, let's see. Yeah, that's closer to what I wanted. I still need to add a little bit of like ultramarine blue or something to that, just to like bring that color to more of that purple. Desaturating the color a bit by adding that blue there. I don't went a little crazy with that. It's a touch too desaturated now. Add more of that alizarin crimson to it. It's gonna be almost right. A little bit more yellow in there. Grab all the paint off. Yeah, that's probably a lot closer to what we wanted. Yeah, that's pretty close. I almost want like just a little bit more, a little bit more blue. This went a little too crazy last time with the blue. careful as you're adding that ultramarine to this color. There we go. That's better. Grab that. And then I'm leaving some of it on my palette because I'm also going to lighten this a little bit and slowly transition it into, I think, kind of that almost kind of brownish color I made before. Yeah, for the bottom section. I'm gonna add a bit of sap green into there. Yeah. Add that on the palette, and then we also want to do those brighter colors. So I'm going to clean this off so we can play with those yellows now. Oh, I'm definitely getting that on my... Be careful while wiping. You end up losing all your colors on the side. There we go. Okay, and then we want to do that yellow. So I'm gonna go... Just gonna see. It's almost kind of like a greenish yellow. I'm gonna add a bit of the sap green to it. It's almost like that lime green color. I love lime green. Yeah, that's actually pretty close to those colors there. So it's more of like a lime green color. Let me see in some of the other areas. I'm going to use a bit of the titanium white with this one. Okay, let's see. Yeah, that's pretty good for the yellow portion. And then I also want this white portion as well, so titanium white with a little bit of the yellow. And that should be good. Some of those areas, that'll be good. But we also need a brighter white in some of those areas. More of kind of like a bluish white, but not just like plain titanium, I don't think. No, it's got more of like a bluish tone. I'm just gonna mix it down here so it doesn't mix with the yellow. I'm gonna add a bit of cerulean blue to that. A very little amount. A little bit more cerulean blue. Yeah, that's closer. Okay, so we've got kind of like this bluish white, and then we've got the more yellowy white. So those will be perfect for what we need it for. Okay, and then I think we can kind of improvise in some of the other areas, or just like take out certain color tones we don't really need. And we'll kind of just start with at least that. I think that'll be a really good starting point. So I'm gonna move my rag a little bit. And do that. Okay. And then I'm gonna move my main camera here over to this area over here where my painting is, so then you guys can watch me paint. Oh, I could plug this phone in too, so it's charging. So you'll see this area over here. This is where I'm going to be painting. Just over to the side a little bit. Then you'll be able to see me while I'm painting. Perfect. Okay, I'm going to switch it over to the paint scene. So I've got a little sketch there. You're welcome to pause this or take a minute while I'm setting up my other stuff to sketch something out. Normally I post a photo the day before so you guys can get a sketch done, but you're welcome to just kind of like wing it today if you're following along. Or like I said, if you're watching it back, just pause the video and get a little sketch done. And now what I do with the sketch is I take my little, like a little gummy eraser, a little kneaded eraser, and I just dab it off because I don't want the sketch, the graphite, to mix with the paint. So I try to take as much of it off as I can so it doesn't mix with the paint a bunch. So I'm just kneading this around in my hand. Also, I hope my other phone is charged enough. It hasn't been charging very well. It keeps saying that there's like dirt or it's wet in the charging port, so I have to use my like little charging pad, which isn't as fast as charging my phone. Let me see. Should have all of these things set up. I'm gonna grab my phone over here. I just like my phone so I can film reels and stuff on it. Reels and shorts. There we go. Set that up on the side there. And I am still filming time lapses too. I just haven't been posting as many time lapses lately. But I have a backlog of time lapses I could edit at some point, so I will try to get to that so then I have some time lapses of these as well. Okay. And the sketch is really just to have a general idea of where things are. So I kind of just like marked off with my pencil where like basic shapes are or like basic colors. And we're just gonna follow them a little bit, but we're gonna add the detail in ourselves anyway with the paint. So So no need to do like a really, really elaborate sketch or anything. Okay. And for our brushes, I think I'm going to start out with a flat brush. This is a number 0 flat brush by Seneca. I never know how to pronounce that. It's this one here. I've really liked these ones, specifically for oil painting. I find they keep their shape pretty well. Okay, and I said I was going to start out on the background. I think I want to start with some of the green colors because I really, really enjoy the green colors in the background. One of my favorite colors is green. So I'm going to start in this area, I think, first. And like I said, I'm not going to actually match the background. We're just kind of giving the general vibe of what's in the background with those similar colors. Because I want the background to look like blurry and really cool. To kind of look like, almost like one of those bouquet backgrounds. I'm just going to put all of the greens that kind of look like that sap green first. And I'm going to go back in with some of the other colors and add those in certain areas. And we'll go in with that really dark purple, I think, after we've got all these kind of lighter colors in, because then we'll know where we want to darken certain areas. Trying not to add on the paint too thickly either to begin with. thinner paint on there. Also got these brighter kind of colors here. So we're just working our way down to that lighter green. I'm going to go into that purple now. I'm going to slowly start adding that kind of purplish color into here. That'll deepen some of those areas. And we can always come back and add a bit more of that purple after too. And I really want that purple to be really sharp along the mushroom line here. Where the mushroom is going to be. Just because I want the mushroom to pop all of those colors. A bit more of that purple along here as well. Make sure that I kind of get that nice mushroom shape that I wanted. Not going over to the lines too much that I created. I'm going to maintain that shape. I've almost got kind of some of those dark blue colors over in this area, so I'm going to slowly start to add some of those darker blue colors. Just different plants in the background is what I imagine. And you see all these different colors. Nice deep blue. It's like a bluish purple. There's even some like green bits in between. Kind of along the edges. And then some more of that dark blue here. And we're going to go in with the lighter blue as well. A lighter blue color. Try not to go crazy with how much paint to use for the lighter blue. There, just add a little bit of variation there. And I do have a little thing of linseed oil. I should show you that. Add a bit more light to there. Might shine in my eyes a bit, but I'll move my light a little bit closer. There we go. I'm gonna move some of that. Clean off my brush a little bit. just the linseed oil there. I'll go back into that darker purple. I just didn't want a ton of that lighter color in there. This is like a stick or something here, and I'll leave that in. A little stick in the background. See that green. I'm just kind of like framing the mushroom and where the mushroom is going to be right now. Almost got kind of this pinkish color in this area. Add some of that in there. We've got more of that kind of purple color. Bit of that blue in it. Almost kind of like a light blue in the middle of that area there. Kind of just like doing a blurred out background. Don't want the colors to be super bright. Because I want the focus to be on the mushroom. So a bit more of that darker color. And then I'm gonna go into some of these purples that I made over here. Just gonna clean off my brush a little bit. Get into this darker purple. And there's also some darker purples kind of in this area too. So I'm gonna put that over here. I'm gonna go into that lighter purple too. I kind of just dab that in some of this area anyway. Some of those darker blues in here. a lot of like variety of color in this reference image. I really like it. And some of that lighter blue as well. Grab some of this kind of pinkish color here. I'm going to grab a little bit of that white there. There's almost like a stick kind of here, so I'm just kind of bringing that across already. And then a bit more of this purple color, just to get those darker colors filled in around here. And then I can hardly see it in the photo. What do you mean, hun?
I don't really see the purples in there. I can see where you're putting purple, and like if I look closer, I'm like, oh, well, yeah, there's purples in there. You're gonna cover that up with like other colors, I imagine. You'd like probably make the browns, right?
Exactly. There's more purples in there than you think, though. It's just because the other colors haven't been laid down yet. I'm really not going to have to change the colors that much. That's the tricky thing, is sometimes when you're laying down colors and you've pre-mixed them, you don't realize the colors are actually very different than what you think they are. It's also going to look a lot better in person than on camera.
Well, you guys might want to bed with Dave.
What?
Why don't I do bed with Dave?
Where? Oh, she's over there. That's cute. Our cat is laying in a little nest in in a shelf. I like some of the spots. She was laying on the oven earlier because it was warm. Those are her favorite spots. It's on the oven or in her bed. Kit Kat's got her bed right now, that's why. Her other cat is like, no, that's my bed right now. Doesn't care. And I'm gonna grab some of that. Just grab the darker color there. So I'm gonna take this kind of lighter color on my brush so it doesn't blend into it too much. I am gonna grab some of these darker purple colors. It's kind of another like trust the process thing. feel like you have a hard time trusting the process and seeing where the colors will go. That's why you think the purple doesn't match right now. Yeah, you. My husband's always like, "Hey, are you sure that's the right color?" And I'm like, yeah, it definitely is. I feel like I see colors that other people like can't sometimes. I'm like, nope, that's definitely the color that goes there. And there's a lot of this color. We're also not going to be adding as much detail as the reference image because we only have like a limited time to do this. So I try not to add all of the detail in there. The main details are going to be in the mushroom. If I have some time, I can go back and add a bit more details in some of these sections. But for the most part, I want them to be I'm gonna also add some kind of green sections in here, just because I think they would look nice. And then I want to add some of this darker color in. I'm really just trying to add the darker color around the whole mushroom because I think it'll make it pop more. More green in this area. Just adding a bit more green over there. And then a bit more purple kind of in this section. Just gonna go for that light green too. I'm gonna add a little bit more of that lighter green. Okay. I'm gonna go back in there with the darker color. Just take out that stick. Taking out major areas. Get a look nicer. There we go. Gotten like a nice colorful background there. Like I said, we'll go back in kind of at the end if we have some time to add a bit more detail and some of that like bouquet effect with like the circles and stuff. But I think it's a good starting place for the background. I won't add too much. I want to have enough time to actually do the details in the mushroom. So I'm just going to clean off this brush really well so that we can use those nice colors for the mushroom. I'm going to start in the darker areas of the mushroom first. I feel like something like this also would be a little bit nicer if it was like slightly bigger because you definitely could add more details. This is one of the ones I wanted to do on a slightly bigger scale, and I feel like it would look really nice if you could add all those like little details. But you kind of have to pick and choose with like the smaller ones, like which details. That's why I try to pick like simpler reference photos. But I really wanted to paint a mushroom today, and this was like the one that I was like, that's like the only one that could be like painted a little smaller. So I'm gonna have to take some more mushroom photos that like can be used for the smaller scale. Okay, so what I'm gonna do is, like I said, I'm gonna start out with some of the darker colors, which is kind of these reddish colors. I'm gonna start out with the reds, and then we'll add the purple in after. I'm gonna just start marking off where this will kind of be. Okay. Okay, I'm just looking at it. See where else I need to like add that in. The mushroom kind of curves in this one area here, so I have to and then there's also like a red around the rim of the mushroom here. I'm gonna add that in. We'll kind of lighten it up with other colors at a certain point in some areas. So this will be a good base color for the rim area. because that's kind of lighter around there. I'm gonna add some lightness to it later on. Okay. Oops. Just painting my easel. It's kind of like curves around there. Yeah. Okay, I'm gonna go into the next color, which is this nice kind of orangey red. Slowly add it beside. They're like little transition colors that we made. Add up to kind of those lighter colors. And at this point, the direction kind of changes in here, so we're putting it on the other side. Okay, we're gonna go to the next kind of orangish color. And at this point, it switches direction. Kind of has this darker color here. I'm gonna use this kind of like pinkish color, and this is gonna be the edge. I'm gonna try to be really careful with this too. gonna look really dark compared to the white right now, but just make sure you get the other colors on before you start playing with it too much. I remember where the direction changes, right in here. In this direction change one, we're going to actually darken that area quite a bit. See if we need some darker kind of colors in here as well. So that's going to be kind of our next thing, is to add those darker colors. So I'm going to start adding that purple.
That's cool.
What?
There's a bird outside, there's like 3 of them, but one of them has clear red markings compared to their group. I wonder if that's like maybe just
He's
older.
a fancy bird.
Yeah, I wonder if it's just older than the other birds and they're all youngins.
Maybe.
And the other ones will show redness as well at some point, but
that's cool.
it's really cool that that one has its red coloring right.
Okay. Trying to put all those darker colors in there. Touch up around the edges too. So let me step back. Bit of darker colors into some of this area too. I need some of the lighter colors on the actual mushroom too, just to kind of get rid of that really white distraction from the paper. And then we can start adding some details, because right now it's just the base layer. That's why a lot of oil painters like to paint in layers. Kind of add all those base colors, and then you go back in and you can add a little bit more detail. Just trying to clean my brush out. It's not super dirty for those like really light colors. Should have cut a few more rags up. Let me just grab. I have some paper towels over here. I should have cut an extra rag up because I don't really like using paper towels. I need to like sit down and just cut a bunch of rags up out of the old towels and stuff, so I have them available. Okay. I am going to add the lighter colors, that's what I said. That's the one we're going to go for. Okay, so let's start with this one here. Get that lighter color. This area here. I'm over here having to trust the process.
Well, that's something you keep saying. Trust the process. Trust the freaking process.
Gotta take my own advice sometimes, because I'm looking at it right now. I'm like, yeah, it's looking pretty rough right now. Whew. People are gonna think I don't know how to paint. It's honestly like this every time that I paint. I'm like, that's looking a little rough. Hope I can fix that by the end. And it normally pans out, so. Sometimes it doesn't, so. Can't say it pans out all the time. Sometimes you're like, oh, probably should have done that in a different size or used a different technique for that thing. Kind of just learn as you go, I guess. Especially when you're like, painting like a new type of subject. You're like, how do I figure this subject out? It's like a little puzzle. I like piece everything together, all these like little details and such. Okay, and then I want to add that kind of like yellowish orangey color in there. I really just don't want to keep cleaning that brush off, so I'm going to grab a new one. I need to get another flat brush, but I have an angle shader, so I'm just going to use that. It's a 1/8, an eighth of an inch angle shader. And I want to go for more of that orangey tone, so we mixed up some orangey tones here. I'm going to do the bottom, like the stem part of it. So like down in this area. That's what I'm going for right now. This orangey color. And we've got this yellowy color. Even more of this yellowy color. And then just gonna clean up that angle shader. And then I'm going to just cleaning it off here. Do you want to translate that, hun?
I can try.
I can't see what it doesn't have Google Translate on here, so I don't know what you're saying. But thanks
Hello,
for being
everyone.
here.
It's the first one.
How is your day going? Okay, I'm gonna grab some of this yellow here.
Excellent fungus.
Thank
It
you.
probably means mushroom. You're smart.
You can write thank you. Yeah, I love.
Wait, I could do one. Thank you.
See there, I got my husband on it. He's translating it for me.
I hope that's the right language.
Oh, you even like translated. What language is it?
It looks like Russian to me.
Okay, that's cool. Hello from Canada over here. Yeah, I'm in Canada. That's where I live. I've never been over to that part of the world yet. I'm gonna add kind of this yellowy color. Megan is fabulous. Thank you. I'm glad you enjoy watching. It's one of my favorite things to do in the week is to do these little live streams and just hang out and paint.
I'm just saying it's great in a sense.
I think most of my audience is normally like asleep while I'm doing these because I have a lot of audience from other parts of the world, or they're like working, so it's nice to have people actually stop in while I'm doing them to chat. So thanks for being here. My husband's gonna translate whatever that is. You're my translator, honey.
I mean, is it all showing up as a...
It's all a different language for me.
I
Except the one says Megan is fabulous, but the rest is showing up in a different language.
It says it's great. I paint at night. Right now I will start painting... It says Venice acrylic. So.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I used to paint in acrylic quite a bit. I'm writing at night.
Painting a picture of Venice right now.
Oh, that is neat. I've never been to Venice, but that's actually one of the places that I'd love to visit. All of those European places. The one place I've always wanted to live is just like somewhere in northern Italy. So, well, that's the washing machine making a little jingle up there. Trying to like get the chores done while the stream is going because my sister is actually coming over tonight and we're gonna hang out. She's coming over from the mainland. I live on Vancouver Island, so my sister is from the mainland
It says he
in
likes
Vancouver.
acrylic more than oil because it dries quickly and it doesn't smell.
Actually, that's one thing that I didn't like about oil painting when I first started too, was the smell of it, but I don't use any solvents. I just use a little bit of linseed oil for my paint. So I only use linseed oil, and then I buy paints that don't have any solvents in them, so then they don't smell. Because yeah, I don't really like the smell of a lot of the solvents either. I'm with you on that. Not a big fan, so. I used to paint actually a lot in acrylics. That was what I did for a long time, and then I've only in the last, I guess, 2.5 years, 3 years now, been painting with specifically oils, and I've started to enjoy them, I think, more than acrylics now, just because I like how they don't dry very quickly. It's like a plus for me because I don't always get to finish a painting in one sitting other than these ones during the week if they're like little paintings. Like mixing my colors ahead of time. But acrylic's so fun to play with too, so. I feel like there's so many mediums that are nice. It doesn't really matter what you use, it's just a matter of like letting your creativity out, right? The main thing is to focus on what we do. Exactly. Yeah. It's more just about enjoying kind of like the process of everything and getting your artwork out into the world in whatever way that you enjoy the most. Because I think that's always the hardest part for artists, is just sometimes finding time to get their ideas onto paper and actually like putting it out into the world, right? Right now I'm just adding a little bit of like highlights almost on the edges of the mushroom. It's gonna be really hard to add those like little details. I definitely should have blown the mushroom up maybe a little bit bigger for painting today. Ah, thank you. Flying. Oh yeah, those ones are cool too. That's a neat one.
But this is one you took a picture of, right?
Yeah, this is one of the ones from our local trail. Yeah, I took this picture. I did.
That's just me. Mom is on me and I can't stand to work because she wants to be carried.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. Just kind of adding extra colors in here. Might have to also add a bit more detail when it dries. I feel like this is one of the mushrooms that's gonna actually be really hard to do in like just all in one go. kind of just at this point is going back and forth with colors and adding a bit more detail into the areas that I feel like needs just a little bit more. I'm trying to add a little bit more details into that lighter part there. I also feel like I need to darken this area a little bit more. Some of these lines are a little thin. So I'm going to work on that probably next. Yeah, exactly. You definitely spend a lot of time on all of the like little details, right? Find myself going back and forth, being like, oh, I could add something there, I could add something there. Sometimes you just have to like stop at a certain point, but you can't rush the process, you know? Okay, add a little bit of that lighter color in this area here. I'm just brushing this on like really lightly now because I want this paint to go over the other paint that I've put down. Ooh, okay, underwater painting is cool. I like that. That would be really neat. I love underwater type stuff. I really like the ocean specifically. I'm a really big fan of the ocean. One of the things I wanted to do in school and that I started a program in was marine biology when I first moved out here. So I really love sea life. So I can see why that would be really cool. Yeah, yeah. The varnishing part is so nice because you get to see all the little colors coming out, right? I like that part too. Okay, we're going to darken these areas up a little bit. I kind of blend it out. Okay. Yeah, yeah, you definitely need like the smaller brushes and not using too much paint at a certain point. Very little details. I have like so many like little tiny like detail brushes. I try to refrain from using them until the end though. So then I get like obsessed with like adding details. Adding some more darkness to some of this section. I'm gonna almost kind of make it like mossy around there. I kind of want more moss in that bottom section around the mushroom. I'm gonna start using some of my smaller paintbrushes now. So I'm gonna use my 10/0 liner brush. It's a very little brush there. And so I'm gonna use that. I'm gonna add all those like really little details that go into this kind of reddish color, reddish orange color. Go. And it kind of combines. I feel like I should do more like underwater scenes, though that would be really cool. Not do many paintings of underwater. I've been wanting to paint a dolphin for a while, so maybe I should do some sort of like cool dolphin scene. I love dolphins. They're such smart little creatures. Go into that darker color too. Kind of adding those. Add some of those darker details in this place now. And these little details is what's gonna really bring the mushroom to life. So we gotta make sure we add these details. They're really important, these like little ones, if we want the mushroom to kind of stand out from everything else. Adding in these like finishing darker areas, and then I'm gonna add some highlights into. And we'll add some like little mossy area down here, I think. Okay. And then I want to add some more colors into kind of like the mushroom section. those lighter colors. I'm going to really refine those areas now. I kind of want them almost like wavy so it looks more natural too. Because right now they're like a little bit straight and flat, but the mushroom definitely has more kind of like a wavy texture. Along there. Along this area. I should try to have enough space on my phone, but I'm always running out of space. Go. I want this one to curve around. This one to kind of curve over here. I'm extra focusing right now. Can you tell? I end up becoming really silent when I'm like focusing. This is the point where I'm like, I want to make sure that I'm adding these in the right areas I want. And this last one over. Okay. Gonna just do a little bit more down at the bottom too. With this. Kind of down here. And then I can slowly kind of add in a few of those dark areas too, because I do want to get in there with that darker kind of red again. That looks pretty good. And then we'll also want to go over these with a little bit of the lightest kind of color too on the edges, and that'll really make this stand out a little bit more. Okay, that's coming along there. And then this darker color here. Grab my, like a little blender brush. Put some of that in the purple. And I have like a mini kind of blender brush. I'm gonna blend that out a little bit. There. And then I'm gonna grab the really, really small one that I have. Where is it? There it is. This is a 20/0 one, and I'm gonna put the lightest color on it. So I'm gonna take a little bit of this blue. Got a little bit of linseed oil for mixing. And just a little bit of that pinkish color. I'll put that on my really, really tiny brush. I want to slowly just add little bits of it. These edges. Just because I think it'll make it pop a little bit. Got more of this bluish white as well. This one's kind of more of a bluish white over here. Just trying to add like more of like a curvature kind of thing over in that area. Putting your wireless headphones. Yes, exactly. That's what I do. I normally wear my headphones and then listen to music. I find that or a podcast. I like listening to podcasts too. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I agree. Music and painting for sure. It's just so nice to like chill and like listen to your favorite music and like paint. You can like really get lost in a whole like album or playlist. It's coming together okay there. I'm gonna add a bit more like yellow in some of these areas. I feel like we need to add a little pop of that yellow that we mixed up. Some of those areas. Okay. And to add those like little pops of color at the end. Add some yellow in there. I definitely want some yellow in some of these because I think it's like the sun kind of reflecting on it. That's what we got going on here. Sun reflection is so pretty. I love this like yellowish green color too, so just want to like add little pops of this kind of along the edges where the sun's hitting. There's also like a bit of a reflection happening in the inside here. So I'm just gonna like add little bits of this yellow in there as well. I'll be able to add the full kind of like reflection thing on kind of this inside bit. Just because I don't have enough, I guess, space to do the full reflection because I really like the little like reflective bits on the inside. I'm gonna add a few. There we go, that like yellowish with the right dark spots, your painting looks more effective. Exactly, right? Adding kind of those lights and darks slowly to like make the painting pop. That's my favorite part, is kind of like slowly adding those highlights in at the end, and then you can really get that effect that you want when you add those highlights in. That's the hard thing about oils, is you kind of have to add the highlights at the end, or else you end up with like it too bright. So you have to like resist adding the highlights at the start when it comes to oil painting. You end up smudging everything in with all the white tones. Slowly getting those in there. I want to add a little bit of that yellow tone to this area, because the sun is definitely bouncing off of this part over here. And then I want to add kind of like a mossy patch in the bottom section here. I think moss would be nice right underneath. And they normally grow kind of in the leaves and moss areas, these types of mushrooms. I had looked up the mushroom before, but I can't remember what the name is. I'm always trying to like identify mushrooms and see where they are. Okay, I'm just cleaning off my brush a little bit. Okay, that's slowly coming together there. Okay. I'm gonna grab a little bit more of that sap green color. I'm just gonna mark off where I want the moss to kind of hit. The moss to be kind of in this area here. All in this area. Just kind of in this front area here. And then the background, I'm probably going to keep pretty blurred. At least we had more time to kind of get some of this other details in. I'm going to grab the second one down. And I'm going to slowly add in doing more of like the feathery moss. I love feather moss. Slowly kind of add the feathery parts to it. We're going to add a slightly lighter green as well into this area. Just think the moss looks a lot nicer than all those brown patches. I don't know, there's just something about moss and mushrooms that are really nice together. Okay, now I'm going to go into this slightly lighter one. I'm gonna even add a little bit of that yellow to it. There we go. I'm gonna have to be a bit more careful with these. That's why we've got a 20/01, because we really want to add those nice kind of feathery effects to the moss. Make it look like there's more detail in this area. A bit more yellow to that. Really add some yellow, kind of like feathery bits closer to the end of this too. Not to get any paint on my clothes. The feather moss was a good idea instead, because I like that. It's actually looking really cute. Just want to add feather moss to every single mushroom painting that I do. Like completes it. It's so cute. Getting hungry for lunch soon, huh?
Yeah, should be.
I will be done soon, so then we can eat together. Tried to eat breakfast a little later, so then I wouldn't be so hungry. And then I gotta clean up my house after this. Gotta do a nice deep clean of the bathrooms. It's always just nice when you have guests coming over to like do a nice clean of everything, right? Maybe make some of the moss kind of come up over the so it seems like it fits in a little bit more. What are you thinking for lunch?
Well, I'm just gonna start with coleslaw because we have that, but I'm hungry now.
Did you not eat enough?
No, it's just been too long. Do you want any of this, or should I just like snack on it all?
No, you can have it. I had some last night. You can have the rest of it.
Just as an appetizer, and then we'll figure something out when you're done.
I haven't cooked anything, so you're welcome to just do something quick if you want, or you can wait for me if you want. I maybe have like another 10-15 minutes on this, maybe. I'll add some more bright color to it. I add some like, have this lemon yellow. Mix with a little bit of that green. And I think that'll look really nice. Kind of like as like little highlights on the moss. You know what I mean? Just like adding those little highlights there. Go. Just adds like different depth of color when gives a little bit more detail without having to add too much like.
What is that?
Just Mona. Oh, she's licking my plate from breakfast. There's nothing on it. She's probably just licking veggie something. I don't know. Our cat, she likes cucumbers. She likes to eat cucumbers. Anytime she smells cucumbers, she's like in the kitchen trying to steal your cucumbers. She'll steal them right off your dinner plate. You have to be careful with cucumbers with her. I don't know why she likes cucumbers so much. Like, when did that cucumber thing start? Like, it was this year. I think she like tried one at one point, and I was like, what are you doing? Very silly. I've never had a cat that likes cucumbers. Every cat has their own little quirks though, so. Then our other cat, Kika, she will be at you for tortilla chips or waffles. She's our waffle and tortilla chip cat. She'll smell them and she'll be right there. And I don't give her food. Don't feed her. But they end up like tasting it because we'll like leave it out by accident. She gets one taste of it. She's like, oh yeah, I like waffles. You might have to stop her. I don't know what she's doing. There's nothing on the plate though. Like she's just licking it. Maybe there was like breadcrumbs because I did have a bagel this morning. Everything bagel crumbs.
Just leave it. It's too much hassle.
She is sometimes. She sure is. Okay, I'm trying to finish this up a little bit here. Got all these little mossy bits. And just adjusting some of the colors in the background a little bit. Not too much, just a bit there. I feel like that's pretty good. I want to grab this little one again. Just adding a few more details over here. A few more here too. I'm just standing back. Gonna fit. Yeah, you like my little mushroom?
Yep.
Decided to add like little mossy bits because I really like this moss more than I like the leaves. Honestly think it was the right choice. Improvising. I think we're good here. I think that's cute. I feel like we could add like some slightly brighter, like, feel like in the background there's just like some brighter highlights that we're missing, you know what I mean? We add a few of those highlights and then it'll feel a little brighter in the background. I really want to have to clean that off. I'm just going to use a smaller one because it'll probably be quicker for cleaning off. I think I need to just get a new jar of linseed oil. This one's just getting really dirty. It's hard to do it when the linseed oil gets really dirty. Okay, let me see. Just adding those little bright bits, like I said. I feel like it just needs a little bit of white. Those little round spots in the back. Light patches. grabbing a little bit more that darker blue color. Just make kind of those blue circles. I'm going to do some purple circles over there. Have some time to add a little detail in the background. Adding kind of that bright green to these little dots in it. I think the bright green kind of looks a little magical almost. Go. I want a few more like blue ones on this side. Those light blue ones. Okay, I like that. I improvised again, kind of added this, and I like it. Just the creative brain working, right? You can kind of just add things as you think of them. You're like, ooh, that would look kind of nice. You guys get to see my brain in process doing that. Thank you. I'm glad you like it. Yeah, I kind of ended up kind of going off the reference photo a little bit. Went a little bit further off of what I intended, but I like it. I think I like it better than the original photo I took. I feel like it adds like a magical feel in the background with all the little dots. I think I'm gonna call it quits there though, because I think I like how that turned out, and I'm also getting hungry and want to eat some lunch. There we go. I will make sure to post a photo of it after because the colors are gonna look a little bit different in person / in photos versus these webcams that I still haven't figured out how to color grade properly. I'm gonna maybe have to download like a third-party software or something to try to color grade them, but I will get on it at some point. But I will post a photo on my community tab here on YouTube, or you can follow me on Instagram or Facebook, TikTok. I am on all of those too. Here, I'm going to go to the final thank you scene. So we will be doing another painting next week on Thursday again. So I will see you guys all Thursday again. It's okay. It's okay. My husband's like trying to make tea in the back. So yeah, I will see you guys on Thursday again for more paintings, but this will be like up on my channel so you guys can watch the playback. And if you are watching the playback right now, thanks for painting with me. Make sure you share it on social media and tag me at Megan Josol Art and use the hashtag mini paint challenge because I love seeing your guys' versions of all of these. And the reference photo is up on my website if you are just tuning in now and you want to go back and like paint along with it. So if you go onto my website, onto the mini paint challenge link in my YouTube bio, you can see all of the reference photos from past weeks and download like the high quality image so you can paint along with me. So I hope you guys enjoyed the stream today, and I will see you next week. I hope you have